first man to reach second today for the Orioles.
Now Boog Powell, whom the Pirates have been able to contain with 1 hit in 10 at-bats. But sometimes strings come to an end with a jarring halt. Over in Baltimore, when you hear what sounds like booing, they're saying boo, boog. Don't know how Pirate fans are treating that. The infield shift is on now with Alley, Cash, and Robertson all on the first base side of second. They give Powell everything up the middle in the outfield. Pirates lead 1-0. Tying run in Cuellar at second. Ball.
They used to give Moose Skowron the same kind of a call at Yankee Stadium. Moo.
And Walt Morin also of the Cubs. A ball and no strikes. That's Cuellar at second base. Clemente is not very deep to Powell and right. He plays right field shallow on a lot of long ball hitters. Bouncer down to Bobby Robertson. He has him unassisted. A jamming pitch by Blass. No runs, no hits, no errors, and a man left. And we go now to the bottom of the 6th inning. Pittsburgh 1, the Baltimore Orioles 0. A native of Pittsburgh is Billy Eckstein, and let's go right down to Tony Kubek.
Well, one of the most recognizable voices in show business, Mr. B, Billy Eckstein. And Billy, I don't know if you get as nervous as I did before a World Series game when you're saying.
This is the World Series. This is the big thing. You automatically get a little bit nervous.
As Bob Prince said, a Pittsburgh native, a real Pirates fan. How many ball games do you see a year about, Bill?
Well, when I'm in this area, Tony, I usually catch about 10 or 12 ball games. But, yeah, I've been a Pirate fan ever since I was a kid because I was born here.
You remember that 1960 World Series?
Of course. I sang the national anthem then, too.
You did? Well, maybe that's a good omen.
Sure, I hope so. We're going to bring them in. They're going to win today.
1-0. Blass is throwing the ball real well.
That's right. Well, he looks good. He's throwing good soup pitches, you know, and so is Cuellar as far as that goes, boy. But it's going to be a rough one. But we're going to win it. I'm not worried.
Billy Eckstein, thank you so much. Great job on the national anthem.
Thank you, buddy. My pleasure.
Let's go upstairs.
Okay, Tony Kubek.
Billy Eckstein was talking about the last World Series here. The last game played here was 10-9, Pittsburgh.
Sanguin for a strike.
Well, the fans are seeing a much different one today. They've waited 11 years.
Watch this swing. It'll blow all the air out of the infield.
That big, slow change, Cuellar. Actually, if he wants to, he can use 4 or 5 different speeds in a pitch. A real craftsman on the mound.
And a base hit into right center field. It's on the rug, and Retman will cut it off. And Sanguin going to try for 2. He's there.
He's the best running catcher in baseball. In fact, Mickey Cochran was a great runner as a catcher. Used to hit number 3 in that powerful A's lineup. 29, 30, and 31. Then went over with the Tigers. Now watch Sanguin. Come on in here and hit the dirt. He doesn't hurt you on the bases as a catcher when he gets on. Real hustling effort by Manny Sanguin. And once again, the Pirates have another chance. They've left 7 in this game. They left 14 yesterday.
Now Pagan will try to get him over to third. Screwball into the dirt. Pagan doubled and fly to center. One thing, Curt, as you observed, Sanguillen saw that Redmond had to go to his left to get the ball and then turn to make a throw, and he didn't waste any time getting in there. Now if Pagan for the Pirates can move him over to third. Well, a sort of a delayed call there, and Pagan doesn't particularly like it. 1 ball, 1 strike. Cuellar, of course, a very crafty pitcher. He knows that Pagan's job is to get Sanguillen to third on a ground ball off the right side of the diamond. Nobody out. Pirates leading 1-0 in the 6th. That fastball backed up. The road runner, as they call Sanguillen here, out at second on a leg double. Foul ball. Sanguillen has never hit under 300. There's Gene Alley in the major leagues, and his average just keeps climbing. He has good power. Normally doesn't hit for too many home runs on the season, hit 7, but he's a scrambling type of hitter. A ball, 2 strikes. 2-2. Playing Pagan very definitely to pull, and the right fielder Frank Robinson extremely shallow to him. Fouled away. Curt Gowdy said, you just could not ask for a more beautiful day than they have here in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, for this 3rd game of the 1971 World Series, with the largest audience ever on NBC television.
And let's hope we have good weather tomorrow night.
Ball 2, strike 2. And there's a base hit to left field. Sanguillen will score. You know, Curt, the Pirates have been trying to stay away from Brooks Robinson. That time they just got it up high enough where they could get it in there for the base hit.
And they finally cash in on a scoring opportunity and give Steve Blass a 2-0 lead to work on. And we're going to get some action now in the Baltimore bullpen.
Gene Alley, the batter, they're running and hitting. And Alley fouled it back off the screwball.
That's Grant Jackson, Bob, the left-hander, and Dave Leonard, the right-hander.
The Pirates with Gene Alley have a very fine bat control man at the plate. Pirates possibly had the best in Dick Groat in the 1960 World Series and throughout that season. They're holding, and it's a chopper over the mound. It's going to be a tough play. They're only going to get 1. Little bouncer up over the mound, and Belanger throws out Alley as Pagan takes second base unmolested. Pirates lead here 2-0 in the bottom half of the 6th inning. And the batter now will be Steve Blass. And one thing that does basically is take away the double play. You know, Curt, time and again, that number 8 batter is so important. He either keeps the rally going or he turns your lineup over.
Belanger's done a good job for the Orioles in the number 8 spot this year.
Blass to Robinson, to Powell.
You've got a number 8 man that can't do anything. You've got about 2 or 3 innings gone a game with a number 8 and number 9 spots in your order.
Pirate manager Danny Murtaugh sent Jackie Hernandez out to the Pirate bullpen. He was really running. And we'll see what that will mean a little later on. You must bear in mind that Gene Alley is playing with a bad knee and a bad shoulder, as Dave Cash now stands in an attempt to pick up another big run. Dave has a double in 3 at-bats. The Pirates 2 runs on 6 hits. the Orioles no runs on 1 hit. Blass having tossed a no-hitter through 4 1/3 before, check that, 4 1/3 is right, before Brooks Robinson singled. There's Cash showing you what kind of a player he is. The ball into the dirt and immediately put his hand up in the air to say, Pagan, don't try to move. And Alley conceivably could have hurt his leg or re-injured it. One ball, no strikes. That screwball didn't get the corner. 2 balls, no strikes. Mike Cuellar, one of the 4 20-game winners. Trailing 0-2 here in the 6th. And again misses and appears to be distressed with the call. On deck there, Al Oliver. And they'll put him on now. That will turn into an intentional walk, and that will be the 5th for the Pirates in this game.
Cuellar averages only 2.4 walks every 9 innings, so he hasn't had his normally sharp control today. And with Palmer's 8 walks yesterday, Cuellar 5 today, 13 walks the Oriole pitchers have given up in 2 games.
Now, Al Oliver reaching safely to first base twice on an error in the 1st inning that set up a run and walked in the 5th. A very dangerous hitter. That curveball outside.
How far he's back from the plate, Bob.
Yes, last year he was way up on the plate and got hit more, but also hit for a better average. High foul, twisting up off the 3rd base side, and it looks like it'll get into the seats at will. You were talking earlier about Jim Russo and about a 5-inch thick book on the Pittsburgh Pirates. He certainly stayed with the Pirates long enough, better than a month, following them wherever they went. A ball and a strike. He's a super sleuth. 2-1. Pirates' counterpart has been Howie Hake, among others, of course, but they have a log also. 2 balls and a strike. Foul away. Murtaugh, Curt Gowdy, said that his reports on the Baltimore Orioles lacked only one thing, and that was in the 1st game when they failed to tell him how high to play his outfielders. There he is, the smiling Irishman. Don't you believe that? 2-2. And got him on a change to strike him out. That's number 4, but the Pirates cash a run on 2 hits, no errors, and leave 2 on the pads. At the end of 6, Pittsburgh 2, Baltimore nothing. Hernandez at short.
They're going to leave a dozen out again today. Who?
Yes.
One of his best. One of your best jobs, Tone. Hernandez to shortstop.
Not getting that close.
Shortstop, Hernandez.
Don't forget them. Don't forget the discipline, the teamwork, the ability to learn, the service experience that makes the veteran a valuable, trainable employee. And don't forget the on-the-job training assistance provided by the GI Bill. For information on hiring veterans, call your local state employment service. For training information, call the local Veterans Administration office. Hire experience. When you need people, don't forget, hire the vet. Jackie Hernandez has gone to short. And it's strike one to Frank Robinson, who is 0 for 2. There's Jackie Hernandez. Alley leaving the premises. Apparently re-injured his knee. That ball's out of here. And it's a 2-1 ball game. So Frank Robinson, when the Orioles were trailing 0-3 in the first game, hit a home run to make it 3-1. Really put the wood to that one.
That's his second homer of the series. His 8th in World Series competition. Every series he's played in, he's hit at least one home run. He's right on this one. Look at this. The power as he steps forward, hips going out of the way, head down, eyes right on the ball. A perfect home run stroke, a line drive in the left field seats.
Batter in there now, Ellie Hendricks. He walked and struck out. There is now action in the Pirate bullpen, and there he is, Dave Justy. Change up, flogged foul off the right side. Report from trainer Tony Barterome of the Pirates is that Gene Alley twisted his left knee. Jamming Ellie Hendricks that time. Dave Justy appeared in the game that the Pirates clinched in St. Louis, the National League Championship, or the Eastern Division Championship, and he appeared in all 4 games against the Giants and appeared in the one that clinched, of course, the championship. There's that changeup, the drop ball, and Sanguin will throw him out. So if you're keeping a score, strikeout number 5 and an assist for Sanguin and a put-out for Robertson. 1 away as Pirates lead Baltimore now, 2-1 here in the 7th. And Brooks Robinson fouled out to first and singled. At that time, it marked the 19th straight single for Baltimore in the last 2 games, and this home run here in the 7th changed that streak. Blass starting him off with a fastball.
Well, that homer I'll continue this, Bob.
Foul tip, strike 2.
That homer by Frank Robinson, he now has the most hits in the series, 6. Brooks Robinson has 5, and Clemente has 5.
They've switched in the Baltimore bullpen to Ed Watt. And Blass picks up a very big strikeout, number 6. And in the first game, the Pirate pitching saw 6 strikeouts against Baltimore. And 2 in the second game. The batter is Dave Johnson. Ball outside.
Let's watch Blass now. You might want to study him in slow motion, see if he's any different than he was earlier. Still throwing well. Following through, loose.
Foul ball back, 1-1. Ed Watt and Merv Rettenman were 2 of the gentlemen that I accompanied to Vietnam for the USO tour under the auspices of the Commissioner of Baseball last fall, along with Willie Stouge of the Mudcat Grant, Curt, and they did a great job. Slider away, 2-1.
They'll have another group going over this year from Major League Baseball, touring our service outposts and hospitals in Vietnam.
Ball 2, strike 1. 2 out, 2-1 Pittsburgh in the 7th. A chopper hit down to Hernandez on a Bill High hop, and that's the inning. 1 run on the home run by Frank Robinson. Nobody left on the 1 hit, and we go to the bottom of the 7th. The Pirates lead the Orioles by the score of 2-1. Into the bottom half of the 7th inning, Clemente, Stargell, and Robertson against Mike Cuellar in what might very well be his last. There looks like Arnold.
That's Jerry Hoffberger, the owner of the Baltimore Orioles.
What a job he's done, Curt, for the Baltimore Ball Club and the fans with Frank Cashin and Harry Dalton and others. They certainly have turned that Baltimore town around and made them into a great baseball city.
Now, they're a smooth, functioning organization. And so are the Pirates, or neither club would be here.
Clemente, his speed and speed alone set up a run in the 1st inning when he hit what might have been a double play ball, but he legged it out, and on the play, Cash scored. He's singled in the 5th. He's 1 for 3. Foul back. He has hit safely now in all 10 World Series games in which he has participated. We'll get a good shot of him up there at the plate. You'll think that he's bailing out, but you watch from the waist up how he's out over that plate, and you have a tough time. You think you can jam him, and you can't. He unlocks the hips, and then if you stay outside with him, he'll pop you that way. He didn't want to do that one. A bobble by Cuellar. And he throws high. Error, Cuellar.
Well, there again is why in sports there's no substitute for speed. This is just a little tapper. But as Cuellar goes to field this ball, he knows he has to hurry against Clemente. So he pushes the throw, pulls Powell off the bag. Speed in any sport puts that pressure on the defense, always.
It certainly does, and that is now the 3rd Baltimore error. And this is a turnaround from back safely Clemente. From that standpoint, Baltimore, considered to be a peerless ball club on defense, come up with another boo-boo. Stargell, a ball. They made 3 errors in the game. They won the first game 5-3. Another one yesterday. Off the right shoulder. 2 balls and no strikes. Pirates leading here 2-1 in the 7th inning, and Willie Stargell, who has walked twice and struck out once, the batter. The runner at first, Clemente. Three and oh.
The thing about the Orioles, they can make errors. Here's Earl Weaver, the Oriole manager now. He wants to talk to his pitcher. And nothing bothers this Oriole ball club. They play with a lot of poise. They go ahead and always play their own ball game after something happens.
Well, I think that was pretty well shown when you and Chuck Thompson were televising that first game, getting 3 runs right away, and then coming up in the next inning, and the Pirates had a couple of men on and nobody out, and they just went about it as though there was nothing to it. Ed Watt loosening down the line. Unless they've switched, and we'll double check. Well, they've switched back to Tom Dukes. 3-0 to Stargell. And that's the 3rd walk in this ball game for Stargell. The 6th in the contest. And Tom Dukes is definitely up, and the batter will be Bobby Robertson. How long, Curt, can the Pirates keep knocking at the door without cracking through?
Well, I don't know. They've left 9 today. They left 3 in the 4th, 2 in the 5th, 2 in the 6th. Somewhere along the line, law of averages says they should come up with a big hit. We'll see what Cuellar does here.
Ball. Well, Robertson almost had the big hit back in the 1st inning, as you described, with runners at 1st and 2nd, but he lined it in the position where Robinson, Brooks, that is, could leap up and grab it, turn it into a double play. 1 ball, no strikes. Foul back. Now here are the Pirates with runners at 1st and 2nd, and none out in the bottom of the 7th. Orioles leading 2-0 in the World Series, and yet this game is well within their grasp as the Pirates lead by only a tally, 2-1.
Weaver has real confidence in Cuellar to leave him in there with a right-hander up.
That ball's hit very deep to right field. It's going way back. It is gone.
get that big hit sometime, and there it is. They just couldn't keep leaving them on. Bob Robertson, who we told you could hit him to all fields, powers this one over the 385 mark in right center. Striding in. And now Weaver goes to the mound, and Bob Robertson, who hit 3 homers in one game against the Giants in the playoffs, another homer against the Giants back in Pittsburgh, has now crashed a 3-run homer in the World Series. And Cuellar is being lifted. He was wilder today than normal. He walked 6, so we're going to have a break in the action here at Pittsburgh with a score now. The Pittsburgh Pirates 5 and the Baltimore Orioles 1.
And now a word on behalf of Major League Baseball. Sanguin is the batter. Tom Dukes is on. He's 6 feet 2, weighs 185, 29 years of age. Born in Knoxville, Tennessee. He lives now in Arcadia, California. 1971, he appeared in 28 ball games. He won 1 and lost 5. This is the first time since, of course, for 1 inning, the Pirates have been able to get into the bullpen. Strike 2. Came along from the San Diego trade with Pat Dobson. This is what Curt was talking about, Curt Gowdy, a little earlier, trying to get into the Baltimore bullpen. We'll see how successful they'll be. 1-2. They did get in against Palmer yesterday, but the game was out of control, and they just didn't want to worry about Palmer throwing more than 100 and some odd pitches.
Right, he had a little stiffening in his elbow, and that's why they took him out.
2 balls, 2 strikes. The Pirates 5 runs on 7 hits. Baltimore 1 run on 2 hits. Of the 6 walks, this is the first walk they've cashed. That ball's hit out into right field, and Frank Robinson drifting back. Frank, even though he's playing in shadow, catches the ball off to his left. I guess he's learned to do that in the Sun Field at Memorial Stadium in Baltimore.
Right, and he caught one earlier in the game in behind him, but he had it all the way.
Here's Jose Pagan. Curt was saying earlier that the Pirates had an unhappy young man in Richie Hebner being benched, and Pagan here has doubled and singled and drove in a very big run in the 6th. And fly ball to left, and Don Buford. He's playing the Sun Field, and there are 2 down to Jackie Hernandez.
We'll see Hebner undoubtedly tomorrow, and a right-hander, Pat Dobson, pitches tomorrow night against a left-hander, Luke Walker. First night game of World Series history tomorrow night, and the action starts with our pregame report and the game at 7:30 Eastern Daylight Time here on NBC.
Jackie Hernandez, who replaced Gene Alley, is the batter. He, on the season, batted at 206 with 3 homers, 26 runs batted in. And those 3 homers came against Philadelphia, and most of his runs batted in against the same club. Pirates lead 5-1, 2 down, none on. Down to third and Brooks Robinson. Boog Powell, and that will do it. For the Pirates, 3 runs on a Baltimore error and a Bob Robertson 3-run homer. At the end of 7, the Pirates lead by the score of 5-1. Pretty good-looking rogues gallery there as we now pause for station identification. This is Mike Belanger, 0 for 2, and with Blass working extremely quickly, he has him 0-2 in the ball and strike count. 1-2. Ed Watt loosening for the Baltimore Orioles. The scheduled second batter in this inning would be Tom Dukes. Got him, and that is the 7th strikeout. And that marks the most strikeouts in a single game against Baltimore in this World Series by Pirate pitching. Now we have Chopay coming up. S-H-O-P-A-Y. Tom Chopay. He'll bat in place of Tom Dukes. Now Sanguin is going out. Chopay on the season batted at 257. No homers and 5 runs batted in. Sanguin just out to chat a little bit. There's one thing, Curt, that Sanguin is now doing more and more of going out and talking. The first year or two, you know, he didn't have the confidence, but now he does.
Is there any language barrier?
Not anymore, no. Of all. From Panama, they're expecting their firstborn in early November. 1 ball, no strikes. Outfield shallow and around to left. 1-1. You know, Curt, if I didn't know that was Chopay up there, I'd swear it was Richie Ashburn. The way the Pirate outfield is defensing him.
Way over to the left for the left-handed hitter.
Sanguin wants an appeal at third. And our bench, apparently, the Pirate bench, is asked, and Mr. Rice doesn't care to call for it. 2 balls and a strike. Pittsburgh, 5 runs on 7 hits. The Orioles, 1 run on 2. Frank Robinson hitting a big home run. Foul back. Orioles scoring on a Frank Robinson home run in the 7th, but the Pirates came right back with Bob Robertson for a 3-run homer. Back to Blass and a comebacker.
He had that glove waiting for that one. Looked like a catcher setting up a target.
One thing, it might be a bit premature, Curt, but we can alert our NBC cameraman to be ready. In the event Blass is to win this game, an isolated shot on Blass for what could be the 3rd out of the inning to win it, you might see Nijinsky 17,000 miles straight up. He flies all over the place. They call him Nervous. Buford the ball. Hard to tell what he'll do if he should get that final out and win it. He can run most anywhere. 1-0. There's that changeup. As Curt Gowdy told you, very early in the game, Blass will attempt that curveball and change it. And if he can get it over it effectively, he'll lock it in and stay there. There it is again. Just missing. 2 balls and a strike. But he'll not come back to it if, when he first tries it, he doesn't feel comfortable about it. Ball 2, strike 1. Foul ball off first. Pirates 5 runs on 7 hits. Baltimore 1 run on 2 hits. Baltimore has committed 3 errors. Just as they did in each game. Not that many, but it's an uncommon number of errors for Baltimore. Ball 2, strike 2, 2 out, none on in the 8th. There's the changeup, and Bobby Robertson has to let it play him nicely on the Blass.
Good play by Bob Robertson. Very steady fielding first baseman for the Pirates.
Yes, sir. He had to let that ball play him, which no infielder likes to do. So at the end of 7 1/2 innings, Pittsburgh 5 and the Baltimore Orioles 1. What? Roger that. Who's he with? Let's go to Tony Kubek.
With me, the Commissioner of Baseball, Commissioner Bowie Q, and Mr. Commissioner, tomorrow a very historic event in baseball, the first night game ever.
It is a historic event, Tony. I'm really looking forward to it. I have favored the idea of having this night game in the World Series. We're going to have it. I think it's going to prove to be maybe the greatest sports show we've ever had at night in our television history.
And then looking forward to next year, 3 night games.
Yes, I think during the weekdays, if you can play the games at night, you have the best opportunity to make the game available to the children who are otherwise in school during the day, and the dad who's working during the day. They can come overnight and see the game. On the weekends, the day is fine because they can see it there. I'm looking forward to it.
Mr. Commissioner, I was talking to Danny Murtaugh before the ball game, and he feels the Achilles tendon, if there is one, on this Oriole team, is their bullpen. They're finally getting into this bullpen.
Well, we haven't seen much of it up to now. That's true. We are seeing a little. It's pretty hard to find the Achilles tendon on the Baltimore club, in my judgment.
And a standing ovation for Steve Blass. Mr. Commissioner, thank you so much.
Thank you, Tony.
Let's go back upstairs.
Steve Blass has given the Pirates one of the 2 things they needed. Effective starting pitcher. The other was timely hitting, and Bob Robertson has supplied that.
Ed Watt has come on now to do the pitching. And a ball. Ed, 29 years of age, born in Iowa, lives now in Baltimore. sixth year with the Orioles. Fouled away. This is his fourth series in appearances. He has an 0-2 record. In 1971, he won 3 and lost 1 and had 11 saves with an ERA of 1.82. On deck, Dave Cash. Danny Murtaugh must be resting in behind him a little more comfortably for the moment. However, if you're looking ahead of the Baltimore ninth inning, Rettenman, Powell, and Robinson, if anybody keeps it going, Ellie Hendricks, and then Brooks Robinson. There's nothing easy about that ninth inning. A drop ball on the strikeout and the toss by Hendricks. That strikeout is the 5th against the Pirates. Now Dave Cash, and Dave will just lollipop coming up there to the plate, taking his time, giving Blass a little more breathing time, Curt.
They gave Blass a hand for running out that missed strike. He really hustled down to first.
Dave Cash with a double and a run scored in the first inning. He lined out to center field twice, and then he drew an intentional pass. Pirates were leading 1-0, then made it 2-0 in the 6th when Sanguillen legged out a double, and Pagan drove a single to left. But Frank Robinson came back with a home run in the 7th inning to make it 2-1. Then Clemente got aboard on an error. The third time in 4 at-bats he got on. Ball. Stodgel drew a walk the 3rd time this afternoon. It was also the 6th walk of the ball game for Baltimore pitching. Then Robertson went the wrong way for a home run. High fly to left field and Don Buford. There's Buford. And there are 2 down in the Pirates' 8th inning. Pirates lead 5-1. The attendance here today, 50,403. I'll remind you again that tomorrow's night game, the first in World Series history, will be right here on NBC. The World Series report with Joe Garagiola and Sandy Koufax at 7:30 Eastern Daylight Savings Time. The ball game itself at 8 p.m. Ball on. Pat Dobson will go tomorrow. And manager Danny Murtaugh has indicated, Curt, he'll go with the left-hander Luke Walker.
Right.
1-1. A 2-hitter thus far by Blass. And with 2 down, Oliver 0 for 3 the batter. Into the dirt. Oliver got aboard on an error in the first inning. That helped set up the Pirate run, although the run was earned. Then he fouled out to left field. Walked in the 5th inning and went down swinging in the 6th. High pop-up in the infield, coming up for it, Davy Johnson, the second baseman. And that'll put the Pirates away in 1-2-3 fashion in the 8th inning. So at the end of 8 full innings of play, Pittsburgh 5 and the Baltimore Orioles 1. Later tonight, watch Sarge, starring the great George Kennedy, the police detective turned priest, to help a mentally confused girl solve her identity. That's Sarge, tonight at 8:30, 7:30 Central Time, right here on NBC. Well, here's Merv Rettenman. He's 0 for 3. Grounded to short, slide to right, and went out on a comebacker to the mound, Steve Blass. Ball 1. Dave Justy is loosening for the Pirates. This is a tough time in a ball game for any pitcher. Smelling the victory, waiting to get the roses in the vase or the vase, whichever you prefer. There's Justy. And in a World Series, it's even more difficult. Blass started his windup as Retman stepped out. 1 ball, no strikes. Retman, a coy little individual. He could very well be trying to upset Blass's timing. Try anything. He's a very heady ball player. Two and oh. $50,403 looking on here at Three River Stadium. Strike. We have our opportunity. We wish to thank Alan Roth of NBC for our stats and our production stage manager, Jim O'Gorman. 2 balls and a strike. What a slider.
Four of his 7 strikeouts have been in the last 3 innings.
Ball 2, strike 2. Here's where Blass wants the favorable decision if he can get it. He did. And that is the 8th strikeout, the most against the Baltimore team thus far in the World Series on a game basis, Curt Gowdy.
That's right, and Blass hitting those corners and those right-handers, that outside corner especially.
Boog Powell, he's been contained on 2 jamming pitches in the first inning when he bounced to second, again the first and the 6th, was called out on strikes in the 4th on a changeup. Strike. The infield shift is on. Hernandez, Cash, and Robertson are all on the first base side of second to Boog Powell. They'll give him anything to left field. Just defying him, really, to hit through it. Kurt, your old friend Ted Williams of Boston hit through it enough. What a changeup. A beautiful changeup for Steve Blass.
Here's Powell. Watch this changeup now. Way out in front, the ball dropped off. That's right, Ted defied the shift. He didn't want to bother what he said was his normal swing and try and change it. But in his later years, he did go to left field on occasions.
No balls, 2 strikes. 1 out, none on, 9th inning. Came back with his fastball, 1-2. Boog Powell has a half-brother in the Pirate organization, Carl Taylor. One ball, 2 strikes. Man, he is some kind of big. 2-2. Suppose that adrenaline is flowing a little bit throughout the system of Steve Blass right about now, Curt.
He's a couple outs away from the biggest thrill of his life.
2-2. The changeup fouled away. Well, if we get down to the final out of this inning, in which Blass looks like he really has the chance to stow it away, Lou Cusrow and Harry Coyle will be right on top of it with our fine NBC crew, and you'll see Blass almost disintegrate out on the mound on the final out. High fly out of the right center field, and Al Oliver. That ball's hit out a ton, but he's got it.
Played it well.
A little bit of partisanship there beat him Bucs. I don't know how that looks to Baltimore fans, but to Pirate fans, it must look pretty good. There's been somewhat of a drought. Baltimore beating them 5-3 and just blowing them right out of the box yesterday in Baltimore 11-3. So now Steve Blass goes to Frank Robinson, who struck out, fly to right, and hit a booming home run at the upper deck in the 7th inning.
And unless Frank Robinson does something, Baltimore's 16-game winning streak is coming to an end.
1 ball, no strikes. There he is, the man of the moment for Pittsburgh, Steve Blass. 2-0. Dave Justy continues to loosen. Blass off the mound. You saw him go to his mouth there, but he was off the mound. You can do that there. Then you can come back up on there and dry it off. 2 balls, no strikes. 2-1. Boy, Curt, thus far, he's pitched beautifully. In and out, down and away, and that changeup.
Right, he's walked only 2, and when he's got behind 2-0, he's come back in with a strike consistently. And a good strike.
2 balls, 1 strike. Ground ball, base hit up the middle. So Frank Robinson refuses to bend and gets right in there. Join Barbara Walters, Joe Garagiola, Frank Blair, and the entire staff in welcoming new host Frank McGee to Today, every morning, right here on NBC. That is just the 3rd hit surrendered by Blass, 2 of the 3 by Robinson, and now Ellie Hendricks, who walked, struck out twice, standing in 0 for 2 on the afternoon. The Pirates here in the top of the 9th leading 5-1. The infield shift is on. Strike. And there is absolutely nobody holding to Frank Robinson. Playing right on the line, guarding against the extra base hit to his left is Bob Robertson. There you see the shift. Shadows now beginning to creep out more and more. But one thing about the stadium here, pitcher and batter are both in sunlight. The changeup, flip foul off third, running hard, Pagan, and can't get it.
Of course, we don't know how far this series is going to go, but Frank Robinson has a chance to challenge a record. He now has 7 hits in this, the 3rd game of the series. The all-time record for most hits in a World Series in 7 games is 13, held by Bobby Richardson and Lou Brock. 6-game series, Billy Martin holds the record with 12 hits. Frank Robertson has 7 hits so far.
You'd have to say he has a leg up, Curt. The outfield around to the right. The gap is in left center field. The Pirates leading 5-1. Steve Blass, 1 out away from the first victory of the series for the Pirates. There's a drive right down to Cash on a short hop. The Buccos win. Look at Blass.
Look at that. Steve Blass, he ran right over there. He was at first base, taking no chances, and he pitched a magnificent 3-hitter today. The final score, the Pirates, 5 runs, 7 hits, no errors. Baltimore, 1 run, 3 hits, and 3 errors.
His father wants to get down and see him, and Steve is trying to get him down. There's his dad down in the dugout.
Hey, congratulations.
All right, let's go down to Tony Kubek.
Thank you, Curt. With me down here, Steve Blass, today's winning pitcher, and Mr. Blass. Mr. Blass, you've been crawling all over your son. This is quite a thing for him, isn't it?
Boy, I guess so. Boy, this is something I can't say anymore. Boy, this is great.
I'm going to talk to your boy right now. Steve, I'll tell you, I haven't seen many stronger pitching performances in recent years. You were strong at the end of this ball game, too.
Well, yeah, I felt real good. It's kind of a letdown now. I feel really weak, but with all the adrenaline you got going pitching a World Series, when Brooks Robinson says he gets emotional about this thing, and he's played it so many times, you can imagine how I feel, this being the first time.
You know, Steve, people are going to remember that Robertson home run, of course, but a play before that early in the inning when Roberto Clemente hit a ball back to the pitcher. He ran the ball out very hard, and that was quite an inspirational thing for your team right then.
Yes, well, he's done it. He's done it for so many years that we come to expect it, and that's just the way he plays baseball.
You think your dad want to come in here right now and talk to us a little while? Come on here again, Mr. Blass. They tried to... I saw you running on the top of the dugout here, and they tried to get you out of here.
They weren't going to get me out of there, boy. I told them, I said, I don't care if they threw me in the biggest jail I got here. I'm going to be here.
Steve, the biggest game you've ever pitched?
When he was 6 years old. I'm going to be a big league ball player, and I'm going to pitch in the World Series.
He said that when he was 6? That's a pretty good prediction, and it came through.
Yeah, it took a
Steve
while.
Blass, congratulations. Good luck.
Thank you very much,
Pirates
Tom.
look like they're bouncing back.
Well, we hope so. We're going to give it our best, just like we've been doing all year.
Steve, Mr. Blass, thank you so much. We'll continue to review the action here at the World Series right after this message.
Pirates were humbled yesterday, and let me get the mic over here. Pirates were humbled yesterday, but this is almost like the '60 series. They were beaten 16-3, 12-0, 10-0, but the Yankees, but still came back to win it. I wonder if history could repeat.
Well, it might have a shot, Curt. One of the big things, of course, about the Pirates this time, they hung right in there with that good pitching, as you pointed out throughout the telecast, and picked up the big long ball off the bat of Bobby Robertson, and with good hustle and very steady pitching by Steve Blass, that turned them around a little bit, and of course they'll be trying it again tomorrow night right here on NBC.
Starting pitching, and finally a timely hit by the Pirates did it. Robertson's 3-run homer, and it's 5-1 Pittsburgh. And the series now is Baltimore 2 games, Pittsburgh 1, and Curt Gowdy, Bob Prince, and Tony Kubek, thank you for looking in. Game 3 of the 1971 World Series has been brought to you by Phillips 66, the performance company. At Phillips 66, it's performance that counts. By Chrysler Corporation, extra care and engineering. Your host today, your local Dodge dealer. And by the two-bladed razor, the new Gillette Track 2 twin-blade cartridge shaving system. Coverage of the fourth game starts with Joe Garagiola and Sandy Koufax on World Series Report tomorrow night. First night game in history at 7:30 Eastern Daylight Time right here on NBC.
Our plan, of course, is to take liberties with the arms in the outfield, except for Clemente, who has the greatest arm in baseball.
We felt that in scouting the Baltimore club that the only outfielder that had an average arm or above was Paul Blair.
We're not going to take too many chances on Sanguillen unless we feel that we can get a jump on that particular pitcher.
We felt that Etchebarren has a good arm, but that he takes too long to get rid of the ball, and if he is rushed, his throwing accuracy is affected.
We have tremendous respect for their pitchers. We think that Steve Blass is the finest pitcher on their ball club.
And as you all know, they overshift on Powell, but we overshift a little bit more, and we figure this is going to give us an advantage if our pitchers can throw the ball where they want to.
We concentrated rather heavily on trying to stop their big men like Stargell and Roberto Clemente, who incidentally is almost scout-proof.
The Baltimore Orioles make the World Series scene for the third straight year, and they're heavily favored to win as they did a year ago against Cincinnati's Big Red Machine. Earl Weaver, Baltimore's bubbly, bouncy manager, and Danny Murtaugh, Pittsburgh's rocking chair resident genius. The amenities are observed all around. Welcoming the Commissioner of Baseball, Bowie Kuhn, and the Pittsburgh Gallbreasts, John and Dan, is Baltimore's Jerry Hoffberger, along with the Oriole brass, Harry Dalton and Frank Cashin. The Pirates in a World Series for the first time in 11 years start Doc Ellis. And the Orioles, with a choice of 4 20-game winners, pick Dave McNally.
Number 21.
Roberto Clemente fires the first shot for the Pirates, a first-inning double, and it extends an 11-year streak for the pride of Puerto Rico, his 8th straight hitting game at World Series competition. Now Willie Stargell, the home run king of the majors, coming off his finest year. Wildness plagues McNally in the second. After a walk to leadoff batter Bob Robertson, a wild pitch, and for 1 inning, the best defense in baseball gets jammed like a temperamental computer.
Come on, Sanguillen.
Shortstop Mark Belanger elects to play the front man, but the throw caroms off Robertson's helmet, and he scores on the error. Now a squeeze by Jackie Hernandez. McNally's throw wide of the plate. Sanguillen scores, and Earl Weaver asks for time.
Hey, let's go. Come on, shake him up. Get back in the game. Damn, this lot will make us mad. Let's go. You ready? Come on, let's go to work.
Doc Ellis, staked to an early gift-wrapped 3-run lead, catches the Orioles on the rebound. In the bottom of the second, Frank Robinson gets one back in a hurry.
All right, let's go. Same as last year. Now, let's go. Come on.
Number 7, Mark Bellinger.
An inning later, this one bounces through the middle.
Number 9, Don Buford.
And this one finds the alley on the right side. Merv Rettenman starting in center. It's beyond Stargell's desperate leap. The Orioles lead 4-3. Rettenman explains.
I was just looking for a pitch to hit. I'm not a home run hitter, and Doc Ellis, I think, was trying to throw the ball down and away, and was up and in a little bit, and I wasn't sure it was out until I rounded first because I hit so few home runs that I run everyone out.
When Boog Powell follows the homer with a walk, Ellis takes a walk himself.
I started having trouble with my arm in San Francisco the first game I pitched in the playoffs, and I knew then that my arm was gone, but I will definitely be back next year.
Coming in behind Ellis, Bob Moose. Don Buford in the 5th shows the Bucs he's a leadoff man with exceptional power. In so many ways, the Orioles are reminiscent of the Yankees of a generation ago. Win or lose, they hang in there and they think positive.
Let's go. Let's get about 12 every game. 48 runs.
McNally, after a shaky start, knocks off 19 batters in a row. And when pinch hitter Al Oliver goes down on strikes, it's a 3-hitter for the classy left-hander. Baltimore 5, Pittsburgh 3. And only the weather, it seems, can keep the Birds from their appointed rounds on Sunday. Commissioner Bowie Kuhn decides.
We have decided after inspecting the field and checking with the weather department that we will cancel the game today. The second game will be played tomorrow at 1 o'clock, and we would plan to play the third game on Tuesday in Pittsburgh as it is now scheduled.
Game 2 is played on Monday, originally a travel day. And it's all right with American League President Joe Cronin and Johnny Johnson of the Commissioner's office. On the National League side, Pittsburgh's Joe Brown with League President Charles Feeney and predecessor Warren Giles. The First Lady, Mrs. Richard Nixon, does the pregame honors after the first World Series rainout in 9 years. And now it's Jim Palmer, accustomed to winning World Series games for the Orioles, against Bob Johnson, a playoff winner over San Francisco. In the second, Brooks Robinson drives in the first run of the game. And for Brooks, it's the start of a perfect day.
This guy's not as quick as he was when he was with KC.
Get the kid thrown.
The kid is Bruce Keeson, a rookie with a right-handed whip. In the fourth, Dave Johnson jams a 2-run single to the left side. The score now 3-0. And Bob Johnson is replaced by Keeson, the kid who seems as nervous as a bridegroom. He'd be one in 6 days. The walk to Belanger. Then Palmer forces in a 4th run. So Keeson gets a quick hook. Bob Moose is the third Pirate pitcher, and Buford lifts one to medium left. The bases still loaded. Johnson tags, and a strong throw by Stargell beats him to the plate. The impact sends Sanguillen spinning, and plate umpire Ed Sudol calls a runner out. Let's play it again.
I knew it was going to be a close play because Stargell's got a gun, and if I didn't get a good jump and coming home, I wanted to slide. I didn't too much want to run into Sanguillen. He's a little bigger than I am, but I just lowered my shoulder and tried to knock the ball loose. He was a little bit hurt, but he didn't drop the ball.
In the 5th, the Orioles launch a 6-run inning. But not until the indomitable Clemente gets his own message across with this beautiful whirling throw. Hendricks follows with this run-scoring single. And when Oliver fumbles and falls, 3 birds are sent into orbit. After 5 innings, it's a 10-0 ball game. Timeout for a once-over lightly on the bases. And taking umbrage at the role played by Linda, the beautiful broom girl, is Pittsburgh coach Frank Ochiak. There's one final touch to remind fans of 1970. Brooks Robinson goes into his act. Brooks 3 for 3 on a day. The Orioles made 14 singles. And the old pro is still pure magic afield.
Brooksy.
For 7 innings, the Pirates have been kept off the scoreboard. But then Richie Hebner tags a tiring Jim Palmer for this 3-run homer. Palmer, struggling with his control, walks 8 in as many innings. But with a fat 11-3 lead, veteran Dick Hall comes in to close it out. And pinch hitter Milt May, a youngster to remember, is the final victim. Baltimore 11, Pittsburgh 3. Game 3 comes to Pittsburgh's magnificent Three River Stadium. The rout in Baltimore leaves some raw nerves exposed. Will the real Pirates please stand up? Is the World Series a contest? Did that writer who picked Baltimore in 3 know something? Can Steve Blass stop them? Baltimore starts Mike Cuellar, the crafty Cuban. And the Pirates strike quickly. This hard grounder by Al Oliver follows a double by leadoff man Dave Cash. And when Powell's throw is behind Cuellar, everybody's safe. Now Clemente, hitting behind the runner. Roberto's 37-year-old legs beat the relay to first, and Cash scores.
Hey, you nervous a little bit? No. They got one run, we'll even give them one or two more, but you stay around. Once you in at the end of the ball game. Now, double play ball, and we're out of the inning now, so let's go to work. Should have been over on first base now. We should have two out. Let's see you go to work. Come on.
So Cuellar gets Robertson to hit the next one to the right man. A liner to Brooks Robinson, and it's a quick inning-ending double play. So that's how it stands, 1-0 Pittsburgh until the bottom of the sixth. Sanguillen's hit is to right center, and the smiling Panamanian, who plays aggressive baseball, dives into second with a double. Up next, the veteran Jose Pagan, platooned at third against left-handers. And it takes a good play by Buford to hold his run-scoring hit to a single. Sanguillen scores, Pittsburgh 2, Baltimore 0. For 6 innings, it's a trouble-free one-hitter for Steve Blass.
Put some on the board, what do you say? Don't want to stick around this town too long. He's quick. Got to be ready the first 4 or 5 innings, and he'll fold like a suitcase, and we'll jump all over him. Nothing will happen until we make it happen, so let's do something. Got to get on the base. Come on, a boot and a popper. We'll home run. Let's go.
In the 7th, Frank has his third shot at Blass.
There's one, boys. There's one. Attaboy, Frank. Come on, let's see what we can do. He's out of gas out there. Let's go.
In Pittsburgh's half, Clemente pulls back from a pitch, hits it anyway, and hustles pitcher Cuellar into a hurry-up throwing error.
Oh, we're back in the ball game. We're only 1 run down. No, we made a mistake. We let the guy get on, and the ball hit back to you. We can't afford to have 2 men on base with that big guy coming up. Come on, settle down. Keep us right in the ball game, Mike. We'll win the son of a gun. Come on.
Stargell, with 3 walks in the first 2 games, gets 3 more in the 3rd game. And now with 2 on, nobody out, the wheels are turning. Coach Frank Osiak flashing the bunt sign. Not once, but twice. And Bob Robertson, who never bunted all year, oblivious of all the deep thinkers. Clemente on second seems to be calling for time. But it's too late. The pitcher in his motion, and Robertson makes his own strategy. An opposite field home run for 3 big ones. Let's play it one more time. Looking at it from center field, Clemente clearly wants a break in the action. But the second base umpire, Jim Odom, has his own ideas.
Well, Clemente turned around and tried to call time, and under ordinary circumstances, he would have been given time. But Cuellar was in his pitching position, pitching motion, and it was just too late. He couldn't give it to him.
So does Bob Robertson.
Maybe I looked away a little bit too soon when he signed because I was very anxious to get a base hit in that situation. And Willie Stargell was the first one to shake my hand. He said, "That way to bunt the ball, Hoss."
And Roberto Clemente.
When he gave this sign, I was looking at this Stargell. I was trying to tell Stargell to be alive for the line drive. The only thing I was concerned was about the hit and run, and that's the reason I was going to call for time.
That's all for Cuellar.
Go ahead, Mike. Next time. Get him next time. We're going to score. I know we're going to score 3, too. Gosh, darn it. 3 errors for crying out loud. Go right after him now, Tom. Right on after him. 1, 2, 3. Let's go.
But Steve Blass keeps firing the out pitch with body English. And when the last out is made, Steve has a 3-hitter. The Orioles' win streak ends at 15. And the final score, Pittsburgh 5, Baltimore 1. Game 4, the first night game in World Series history. And the tranquility of the riverboat belies the excitement of the occasion. The fans sound off.
Tonight's game, I think it's the best thing that ever happened. That'll give everybody a chance to see the game.
Different spirit altogether.
It's all right if they have like one a year.
I don't know. I think it's something different.
I think it's wonderful.
Great decision by the baseball people. It's the best thing that could happen.
I wish I could make it.
What I think of night baseball, it's all right. Thomas Edison would have loved it because he invented the lights. Me, I have other things to do.
Inside the Allegheny Club, there's more than one way to see a ball game. On the field, Stan Musial, joined by the missus, and Pittsburgh Vice President Bing Crosby, who also has a few hits to his credit. On the firing line for the Pirates, on a history-making night, Luke Walker. Paul Blair leading off, gets the first hit, followed by 2 more, courtesy of Belanger and Rettenmund. So Walker's dug a bases-loaded hole for himself. And when this pass ball skips through, Baltimore's on the board. Belanger scores, and it's 2-0 Baltimore.
That's what they call him. Boog. He starts over in his dugout down. You and I are going to run for the clubhouse.
Get your pitch, Booger.
The drive is run down by Oliver at the warning track, but it's good for a 3-0 lead. That's it for Walker. And with the Orioles still hitting in the first, the kid comes in. Bruce Keeson, a big leaguer for just 3 months. And when Johnson bounces out, the Orioles settle for 3 in what Earl Weaver would call the pivotal game of the series. Baltimore's 4th starter is a 4th 20-game winner, Pat Dobson. And quickly, the Pirates get back in the ball game.
Get in the hole.
Stargell strikes the first Pittsburgh blow behind a walk to Dave Cash.
Hop on over at third, Ollie. That's in there, boys.
And the kangaroo bounce off the synthetic grass makes it a 2-base hit. Stargell scores. The Pirates down by 1, and Weaver up again.
Listen to me now, you got good stuff. But you're grunting on every pitch, you hear?
I'm not trying to overthrow. I made a lot of
good pitches. Nice, I know it. Nice, easy motion. A pretty good hitting ball play. Got a good fastball. Put it in good spots. And then throw the breaking balls when they're not looking for it. You don't know when it is. Stargell just guessed. But nice and easy. You hear? Pop at the last minute. Everything at the last minute. Now relax. You'll be all right. You get out of here. That's all they get.
In the third, more trouble for Baltimore. Hebner's on first with a single. And now Clemente tags one. Well, what is it? The umpire, John Rice, says foul. And here comes Murtaugh.
We're having a general conversation.
Yeah.
The ball just missed the white line by that much, Dan.
John, that bullpen don't think you're right on that side.
I know, but none of them were out there except the one guy now, Dan. And he's looking this way, and I'm looking right here. Doom, dismiss. If I call it the other way, I got an argument by the other guy.
Well, what the white care about that?
I said that's how close it was.
Well, that's idiotic. In other words, you don't want them to argue.
Let's play it again, Sam. And this time, look at the men in the Pirate bullpen, especially the one in the extreme corner. He turns away. And who turns away if it's fair? And this time, Clemente settles for a single, the 10th straight series game in which he's hit safely. Hebner pausing at second. And now Oliver with his second run-producing hit of the game, and it's all tied up. Meanwhile, the expectant bridegroom has been firing bullets. and just enough scatter arm to keep the birds loose. Belanger escapes, but 3 don't. Three-wing batsman. No other pitcher in World Series history ever bagged that many in a single game. And if Keeson isn't rough enough on the hill, the 6'4" rookie goes for more, trying to take out Dave Johnson on a double play. And in the confusion, he tries a Baltimore cap on for size. Keeson comments on the play.
I wasn't trying to hit Johnson. It was just lack of the base running skill on my part, more or less.
In the bottom of the 7th, Eddie Watt comes into a 3-3 game. Robertson starts something. Now Sanguillen. The pinch hitter is Vic Davalillo. Blair, after a long run, drops his twisting fly. Robertson makes it to 3rd, but Sanguillen, with a big turnaround 2nd, is nailed. 2 out now, and the pinch hitter is Milt May. It's a tie-breaking single for the 21-year-old rookie catcher. And somewhere, there's a proud father who used to play 3rd base as Pinky May. Now the Bucs call on Dave Justy to lock it up. And Powell's foul pop tells it all. The World Series is all tied up. And the Pirates, unlike the Elephants, didn't come home to die. It's the day after the night before. And Nellie Briles becomes the newest inspiration of Danny Murtaugh's rocking chair genius. Briles, who hasn't pitched in 2 weeks, and very little then. But except for this single by Brooks Robinson in the 2nd, and another by Boog Powell in the 7th, and walks to Hendricks in the 5th, and Buford in the 9th, Baltimore manager Earl Weaver wonders where all his big hitters went. Dave McNally, who finished strong the first time around, can't avoid trouble. And in the 2nd, Robertson's blast is all the Pirates need. His 2nd home run, his 6th in postseason play. Before the inning ends, Pittsburgh makes it 2-0. Sanguillen.
Let him steal, Don. Let him hit.
Let him hit.
And with 2 out, Briles helps himself, bringing home the fastest catcher around.
Davey, every time you're high, you're letting your body get way out there. You know, maybe you got to concentrate on shortening your stride. So hang your body up, hold it just a second, and then come down. Okay? You got no pain, have you? No. Okay, come on now. Fastball looks good if you start getting it down.
So in the 3rd, McNally keeps it down to Bob Robertson. And even if Brooks Robinson shows he's only human. Kleins, on with a walk, gets to 3rd on the error. And this low into Sanguillen becomes a run-scoring wild pitch. Pittsburgh ahead, 3-0.
Were they that good? Oh, we just said bad.
In the 5th, Gene Kleins leads off. Now Clementi's turn, and he keeps the scoring and his own streak going, punching a curve under McNally's glove into center. 4-0 Pittsburgh. With Briles in complete command, even pitching on his face, the Orioles go quietly, and the complete turnaround seems to unbalance their poise. And at no time is this more in evidence than when Jose Pagan pops up. And look who goes down. The last out, and with it, a sweep in Three River Stadium. The Pirates taking the World Series lead, holding the Birds to 9 hits in 27 innings, showing the kind of pitching and defense that Baltimore is endowed with, but has not unveiled so far. The series comes back to Memorial Stadium. The Orioles with 2 more days to prove they're what Earl Weaver proudly calls and sincerely believes the best damn team in baseball. No team in recent history has come into a series with finer credentials. 100 or more victories 3 straight years. It's up to Jim Palmer. But in the second, Pittsburgh's big gunner, Bob Robertson, behind a double by Oliver, knocks in the first run of the game. Clearly, Palmer isn't the overpowering pitcher he can be.
I'll tell you something, your fastball isn't as good as it was the other day. Concentrate on getting the other stuff and keep yourself in here. Come on. 1 run ain't going to do it. That's just what we need to wake us up. But go after him. Come on, Jimmy.
Clemente, who tagged Palmer for a single and double the first 2 times they met up with each other, improves on that.
Boys, this guy ain't got it today. We're going to get to him.
And now a homer in the third. Roberto going with a pitch and sailing it over Frank Robinson's head. It's his 11th hit and first homer of the series. And the Pirates lead 2-0. Bob Moose opens for the Pirates. He's the 6th different Pittsburgh starter in as many games. And backed by plays like this, the Pirates seem about to wrap it up. But in the 6th, Buford opens with a home run on a 3-2 pitch. The first extra base hit by Baltimore in 26 innings. It's 2-1 now, and the bullpen gets busy. After an error by Richie Hebner puts Johnson on, Boog finally beats the stacked right side. Clemente comes up firing.
Your attention, please. Now pitching for Pittsburgh, number 27, Bob Johnson.
In this jam, Bob Johnson, ineffective as a starter, does a superb job. After Frank Robinson pops out, Rettman strikes out. And Brooks Robinson becomes the 3rd out. The Pirates still lead after 6, 2-1. But in the 7th, the Orioles try running and succeed. Belanger steals second. Dave Justy comes in to complete a walk to Buford, and Dave Johnson crosses him up. A soft liner over short for the tying hit.
More on the board. Let's go.
In the 9th, the Orioles go for the tiebreaker. Buford with Belanger on first and 2 out. And only a good play by Clemente keeps Belanger from scoring.
Mark, come on, we can do it. Just our part of the game. Show them how we did it all year.
So it's up to Dave Johnson. Jackie Hernandez recovers, and that's out number 3. We're going into extra innings.
Number 20, Frank.
Now the Orioles face Bob Miller, and with 1 away, Frank Robinson walks. Rettman up next. And he bounces 1 through. And look at Frank Robinson shift into high gear.
Batting 6, playing third base, number 5, Brooks Robinson.
That puts runners on first and third. The infield, the outfield drawn in. The contest now, Vic Davalio's arm against Frank Robinson's aging legs. The Orioles have tied the series up with a grim comeback in what has to be one of the most dramatic World Series games of all time. Frank Robinson fills us in on his determined heads-up base running.
going in the third, I'm watching that Richie Hebner went to the inside to take the throw, so I knew I had to slide to the outside, and I knew it was going to be close, so that's why I went in head first, and I believe that's the quickest way for me to get there. I'm just thinking now we're on first and third with one out, and Brooks coming up. Just know Brooks is going to get you home some kind of way. The main thing when I was thinking about coming down towards the line is I have to score. I got to score. And Manny Sanguin, he went up in the air, so I knew I had to go between his legs and not around him. So it was just a real tough play, but I just knew Brooks would get me in some kind of way.
And so it comes down to Game 7 in the pressure-packed 68th World Series. And on the second Sunday in Baltimore, the threat of rain persists.
I've only been in 3 series, but this has been the best umpire that I've been in. It was one hell of a job all the way. It was a great job by everybody.
No questions about any rules. And just bear with me with the rain. We might be here a long time.
Okay, boy. Okay.
Steve Blass, the man who turned it around, whose 3-hitter stopped the Baltimore Express at 15 in a row, gets a second crack at the Orioles. And there are symptoms of wildness, of trying too hard in the Blass delivery. And Weaver picks this spot to challenge Blass on a technicality.
801. Rule 801 says he's got to pitch from in front, on the rubber in front, and not on the side. This is a lot of tricky stuff. This isn't about to stop, but he's got to come to a stop soon. He's pitching from the side of the rubber. He's got to pitch from in front of the rubber. We know that. Well, I'm also about to stop. He don't stop either.
So now pitching from in front of the rubber, Steve Blass. Rule 801. Mike Cuellar, back for the Orioles, matches Blass. 3 scoreless innings with less trouble. But with 2 out in the 4th, Clemente, the unsinkable Pirate, and the Pirates lead 1-0. The Orioles, meanwhile, waste some scoring chances.
Have a good day, Boog. One good day right now. This is what we've been waiting for, Booger.
On this final decisive day, the heart of the Baltimore lineup goes hitless. In the 8th, Stargell gives Pittsburgh's thin lead a boost. Now Pagan.
Hit and run, Don.
Belanger's relay to the plate is cut off by Powell. Stargell scores. It's 2-0 Pittsburgh. There are some who felt Powell should have let the ball go through. But this replay supports the wisdom of the cutoff. And out comes Earl Weaver, still thinking ahead, as all managers should.
Hey, we're all right now. That don't mean nothing, you hear? Let's don't let him get this one, and we'll get him. I doubt if he'll bunt. He'll probably be trying to go to right field, but let's go to work. Come on. Mike, hold him right there and we'll get him, okay?
In the bottom of the 8th, Blass meets his toughest challenge. Hendricks opens it up. Now Belanger. And a follow-up sacrifice bunt by Tom Chopay moves the tying runs into scoring position with 1 out. Hendricks scores the Baltimore run. Time now for a conference. The tying run on third, and Davy Johnson up. Jackie Hernandez makes the play. The last act. 3 more outs. And Boog Powell is stopped by the overshift. Frank Robinson.
Better than this, fellas. We're better than this.
And now the last hope for the Orioles, Merv Rettenman. Hitting to the same spot that set up Baltimore's winning run the day before. But this time it's plugged up. And the game, the series, it's all over. Pittsburgh with a World Series victory as improbable as the one that shipped the Yankees 11 years ago. And the only major link between then and now, Roberto Clemente, again hitting in all 7 games for a devastating 414 average, and doing everything else expected of a superstar, in the field, on the bases, putting on a one-man show, total in concept and execution. A most valuable player on a battling, superb championship team.